African hair growth secrets for extreme hair growth. It's another episode in the Secrets from Around the World series, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some African hair growth secrets. Now, if you didn't know, I am African myself, I am Zambian, and I have grown up with a lot of these tips, and they don't really sound like secrets to me because they're common, like I've known them my whole life, but I'm going to share them with you now and buckle up because there's a lot of good ones here. Now, I know in general we don't all have like the longest hair in the world, but certain places do have extremely long hair. It's kind of like the Yao women in China. Like, not all Chinese women have hair flowing all the way down their backs, but the ones that do, they have it and they have the secrets. Okay, let's get into the first one. If you don't know me, my name is Angelica, aka Angie B. Consider subscribing if this kind of content seems interesting to you. The first African hair growth secret is Chebe powder or Chebe powder. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but one of the two. I won't say it again, but I'll put it on the screen. Okay, so this powder is not so secret anymore because I have seen it around on YouTube for a few years. A lot of people have been trying it out. There's these popular pictures of these women in Chad using the powder in their hair. They kind of make like a paste out of it and use it in their hair. So here's what actually helps it grow hair. It is very thick, it's very pasty, so it kind of coats the hair, and it is also moisturizing and strengthening for the hair. It has anecdotal effects, so it's kind of similar to rice water in that there haven't been a lot of scientific studies, but from people who have used it a lot, there are lots of word of mouth and success stories from people who have actually used it despite there not being a lot of scientific evidence. So it's just one of those things that you have to try out for yourself, see if you like it, and then go from there. I have not personally used this powder, and it is simply because I know I won't see results, not because I don't think it's a good product. It's because I know that it takes a little bit of work, it's a little bit messy, and with me, when it comes to using messy things, I know that I just won't be consistent. And the only way for any product, any idea that I tell you that can help you grow your hair, if you cannot be consistent with it, it's just not gonna work. Even if you see some positive results, they're eventually gonna go away because you won't be consistent. So I just haven't really bothered. It's why I don't really use aloe vera. I don't like the slimy, sticky thing it has going on. I'd rather just buy a product that's similar. So if I found like a conditioner or a scalp oil or something which is infused with this powder that I can use in my routine, then I'm gonna go for it. But in the most common way that it's used, I just know I won't be consistent. So if you tend to use lots of wet DIYs like these powders and aloe vera, like your own kind of conditioner mixes, then this would definitely work for you. But if you're like me and you're more of a scalp oil kind of girl and store-bought conditioners, you're not going to be consistent. Okay, just stay away. If you know you're going to be consistent, I would highly recommend it. The next African hair growth secret is one that is extremely underrated in my opinion, especially these days because everybody just wants to be so fancy. It is head wraps. Now, you know, I'm a head wrap girly, okay? I like wearing head wraps, even just headbands, kind of like what I'm wearing today. You know, not all my hair is covered, but I am wearing like a hairband. But head wraps are really good because one, you can do whatever you want to your hair underneath, okay? You can have the craziest hairstyle as long as you're like taking care of it. You can moisturize it, you can condition it, you can do something extremely low manipulation, just stir your hair up, put a head wrap on, and then you're done. The other thing I really like about head wraps are they can extend the life of your protective slash low manipulation hairstyle beyond the scope of it looking pretty but still serving a purpose. For example, my hair has been braided for a couple days now, over a week, and I braid my hair myself. These are kind of large braids, so the front braids, they're not looking so pretty, okay? They're looking kind of frizzy, but they're not frizzy enough to cause any tangling. They still work fine. Like, I work from home. I'm not really going anywhere aside from the gym. When I go to the gym, I wear a hat, so like it's all good. So it's not pretty enough to just like style and wear it out because it's like super frizzy and all the braids are kind of blending together. But I'm not ready to take it out yet, right? So if I don't want to take it out, but it's not yet time to take it out, but I have somewhere to go, throw on a head wrap and you have low manipulation. Your hair is still protected. You can do whatever you want to your hair while it's underneath the head wrap, and you can get away with that. And that has actually really helped with hair growth because you don't have to do much with your hair. Just throw it in a head wrap and you're done. provided you make sure you either make the head wrap silk or satin, or you wear like a silk or satin scarf or bonnet on the inside of your head wrap. That's going to give you maximum benefits. The next one is one of my favorite African hair growth secrets because this is the one that I'm the most consistent with. It's the one I use the most and the one that I've seen the most benefits from, okay? Scalp oils and scalp massages. Now, let me tell you something about African women, okay? We love oils, especially on our scalp, and we love scalp massages, okay? You could go to the cheapest hair salon, like a hair salon just in someone's house, in their living room. After they finish braiding your hair or putting you under the dryer, doing whatever, you will not leave the hair salon or whoever's doing your hair without having an oil on your scalp. Whether that ends up being a pomade, which I'm not a very big fan of, to an actual oil mix, which are getting very popular now, you will have an oil on your scalp, followed by a scalp massage. Now, oils on the scalp are extremely beneficial because it targets the root of your hair, which is where the hair actually grows from. And the scalp massage adds an extra layer of stimulation and relaxation. It helps you sleep better, it helps you de-stress, it brings more blood flow to the area, which can actually really help your hair grow so much faster, so much healthier, and really revive some of those dead follicles. Now, the oils that are very popularly used here are castor oil, some kind of oil mix containing like olive oil or avocado oil, amla oil. I actually used amla oil a lot as a kid. It was very popular back then. I feel like it's not as popular right now, but amla is definitely a popular oil, especially in hair salons. And my mom used to use it a lot, and she used to use it on me as well. So I'm aware that it is an Indian oil, but it is very popular here in Africa as well. We also use a lot of tingly ingredients like peppermint oil, tea tree oil, eucalyptus oil, all those oils that kind of really tingle on the scalp. And there's one, I know I shouldn't say this. I really shouldn't say it, especially because it's technically illegal. But I'm gonna say CBD oil, but like the less legal version. If you are Zambian, then you know this was a thing in hair salons. They'd be someone, you would have a plug who would bring it for you and you'd actually mix it. But if you look at lots of the research that's been done with similar oils, the benefits are actually very similar to like the peppermint and tea tree oil. It's all like a blood flow thing. And so if you want to get the benefits without it being, dangerous, then get a CBD oil, and that would actually work too. And don't use a pomade, use an oil mix. And I'm actually thinking of trying CBD oil legally, of course, in an oil mix because I think that would be a good way to incorporate it. And so yeah, we love oil mixes. That's what I'm trying to say. Oils, oil mixes, applying oil to our scalp at least once a week, but multiple times a week, like 3 times is a good time. And most people who have really long hair in Africa will tell you that they use a lot of oils in their hair. Which leads me to my next one, which is butters. I decided to put this separately because I've noticed that a lot of people confuse butters for oils. Like I would recommend and say, you can use this rosemary oil in any carrier oil. And people would ask me if they can use shea butter instead of olive oil, which is not the same thing at all. So I decided to put butters as their own separate thing. So if you see a lot of pictures online where you see African people with really, really long hair, it's usually coated in a really thick butter, whether that is shea butter, some kind of animal fat like beef fat. I know I have never personally experienced any of these oils, but I do know that from a lot of the tribes where people have extremely long hair, you kind of see like their hair either looks like red, like it looks like there's some stuff stuck on it. It's usually some kind of heavy butter. And that is because a lot of us are very prone to have naturally dry hair. So we gravitate more towards very thick butters and oils because they keep our hair feeling moisturized and soft for a prolonged amount of time. But there is something very important to note. Most of the time when these people have those kinds of hairstyles with extremely thick butters and heavy oils, they don't manipulate their hair. It's almost like your hair is in locks. It stays exactly the way you place it. So it's either going to be in a large braid, it's going to be in some kind of twists, it's going to stay in the exact same place. And this way you don't lose any damage from like hydro fatigue because the braids or whatever oil you put on the hair is so heavy that if you comb it, you can experience a lot of breakage. If you try to style your hair or do anything, that product is sitting so heavy on your hair that it's going to damage it. So unless you are going to style it and keep it the way these women keep their hair, this is not for you. And this takes me into the next African hair growth secret, which will actually benefit you even more, because I think this is what actually gives you the hair growth. And this is protective styling and leaving your hair alone. I think as Africans, we are like the kings and queens of protective styling, whether that be twists, braids, all head wraps, you can include that in there. Low manipulation and protective styling, that is where we thrive. They are like hundreds, potentially thousands of different kinds of braids and twists that you can get done in your hair. Threading is another one of them, but I didn't really want to include it in the protective styling section because you have to know what you're doing. Some of that thread can be quite sharp potentially, and if you don't do it properly or you do it too tight, you can actually end up with traction alopecia. You can end up with breakage in certain areas. But what you need to look at about the threading thing is it really helps stretch your hair. And if your hair is extremely coily and also very dry, if your hair is in a stretched state, it makes it easier to manipulate. It makes it easier to comb through and detangle and manage without you getting through so many tangles and breaking your hair in the process. But it is a little tricky, so I left it out of the protective styles because you need to know what you're doing. I would suggest, more importantly, twists, braids, and cornrows, and potentially loose buns as the best protective styles, and I think this is where we thrive. Across the board, if you see any African people with the longest hair, it may be down in the pictures, but most of the time, trust me, it's either in cornrows, it's braided up, it's in twists, it's in some kind of protective style. And then when you do the protective style, all you want to do is focus on oiling your scalp and then leave your hair alone. They don't do so many like fancy hairstyles all the time, because keeping the hair in the protective style and leaving it alone is what gives it the most amazing benefits. So let me know what your favorite African hair growth secret is, and if you have one that I haven't mentioned, please let me know what it is in the comment section below. We would all love to know. And like I said, I do love oils. I do have a favorite oil mix. If you want to check out how to make that oil mix with a lot of African ingredients, by the way, like moringa, one of my favorites, you can find that oil right here. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!